Okay, this meeting of the special meeting of the Shelton Metropolitan Parks District is now called to order. The first thing on our agenda is general public comment. If anyone has any comments. Don't see any. Are you guys ready for a reading of the consent agenda?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, we are ready for that. May we please have the reading of the consent agenda.
Sorry. Consent agenda, vouchers numbered 17 through 18 in the amount of $68,456.92.
I make it a motion that we approve the Metropolitan Park District agenda.
And I second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. If there's no further comment, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved to approve the consent agenda. Next on the agenda, we have a presentation, Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee recommended appointments, and that will be Mark Ziegler.
Thank you, appreciate it. Bringing today the recommendation to appoint two members to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. Kitty Lundeen Ness and Kim Oliver's terms ended at the end of 2016, and they have both expressed interest in being reappointed to the Advisory Committee. The Advisory Committee is a 5-member committee that helps out the city in making decisions in the Parks and Recreation realm. They're instrumental in formulating the Parks and Recreation Comprehensive Plan, which we have in process, the update in that. If the Park Board approves, these terms would be 3-year terms that would go through the end of the year of 2019. Both Kitty and Kim have been valuable members of the committee, provide a lot of insight and thoughtful comments whenever we have our advisory committees, and I think they'd be great. It'd be great to have them continue in their new terms on the advisory committee.
Okay, and would this be both of their second terms, or have they been?
Be both their second terms. They actually, both of them filled partial terms. They filled openings previously, so this would be technically second terms, but they didn't fill full 3-year terms the first time around.
Okay. Are there any comments or questions from the board?
The only thing I would do is just make a comment that the city of Shelton literally runs on volunteers, and that anytime someone volunteers for something, we're greatly appreciative of that. And anytime someone volunteers, again, we are doubly happy that they do that, because in all of the different committees and groups and nonprofits, without volunteers, we could not provide the services to the citizens that we do. So let them know that we're very appreciative to their volunteerism.
Certainly will.
Tell them thank you.
Definitely so. I would love to have a report soon too. Okay, are there any comments or questions from the public regarding this action? Seeing none, is there a motion to appoint Kitty Lundeen Ness and Kim Oliver?
I will make a motion. I move to appoint Kitty Lundeen Ness and Kim Oliver to the Shelton Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee for a term expiring on December 31st, 2019.
Okay.
And I second that.
Okay, further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Tell those ladies thank you for us. Okay, the next thing, we have no business agenda. We do have an administration report.
Nothing today.
We do not have an administration report. The next regular meeting of the Shelton Metropolitan Parks district will be March 27th, 2017, and I believe that will be a 2 o'clock meeting. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Okey-dokey.
I would like to call the City of Shelton City Commission to order. I do have a frog in my throat, and it's leaving, I hope, very soon, because I'm getting tired of eating these little naturally mentholated cough drops. So, if I sound a little scratchy, it's because of that. First item on our business is the commission report. We have a senior pastor of the First Baptist Church here today, Jake McGee, and he's going to talk to us about something that they started called Eat Local. And so would you like to come forward and talk to us?
Well, thank you for having me here. Last October, we had a group of young adults, family members get together and brainstorm of ways to enhance our city, to make it better, to serve those who serve us here. And there were tons of ideas that came out. It was a great brainstorming session. But one of the ideas that emerged is this concept of eating local. And the idea is very simple. It's you pick a Saturday where some people, as we're out and about and we meander through the South Puget Sound, we tend to take our business outside of our city and to encourage people on a particular Saturday as they are out and about to be sure to support our city by patronizing a eating establishment. And so we thought that was a great idea and moved ahead with this as a community of faith. Let's do this as a church. And so out of that came a video. And what's great about this video is as soon as we posted it, it went viral as much as a video can go viral in Shelton. And what I mean is, since publishing it in 2 weeks ago, we've had over 22,000 views of the video. It's been shared almost 500 times by people all throughout this community, most of which have nothing but praise for the establishments of our community. And our desires to jump in and to participate in this March 4th Eat Local endeavor. And so what we have discovered and stumbled upon is this grassroots desire to serve those in this community who serve us by keeping our money here at least one particular Saturday. And so since then, having interacted with a number of business owners, all of them have seen the video. How many of you have seen the video? Okay. And most of them are so excited. I think of my conversation at Nita's Cafe. They're going to stay open because they are excited about customers coming and their opportunity to serve them. So that's what's happening on March 4th. And this is what I would ask the commission here and the community here. Eat local on March 4th. EAT is an acronym. Eat local, appreciate your community, and tip generously. I came out of the hospitality industry, and I know how we depend upon the generosity of those who would attend our establishments. And would encourage you, your network of friends, March 4th, eat locally. And to the degree that there are channels of communication here in this group to make this as public as we can. There's been some momentum already. We got several days before we launch, and we hope to have a successful time serving those who serve us in Shelton.
Great. Is there any comments or questions for Jake?
I just think this is a fabulous idea, and I was pleased to see the video. So I wasn't sure where it had originated from, but I appreciate that, and I also really appreciate the encouragement to tip generously. I also spent a few years as a waitress, and I will tell you, it is so appreciated, and we need to help those people who work so hard for us. So thank you so much.
Oh, my honor.
Thank you. I also worked in the hospitality business for a while, and the tips are very important. So anyway, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for this is a very productive thing to help our city, and we want people to think about shopping local. That's a big push with the Chamber of Commerce also, and so anything that somebody wants to do to encourage shopping local sounds good to us. We appreciate your time today.
I do have some flyers, and I don't know if there's a place to put them.
Probably
And
over
so
on
if you
that
want a little
table.
bit more information, I'll leave those here.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next is our weekly commission reports, and so Commissioner Moore.
Oh, yes. Okay, I don't have any scheduled meetings tomorrow. On Wednesday, I have an Oakland Bay Clean Water District Advisory Committee meeting. That is one of the ones that I'm assigned to in my role as commissioner here, and I'm very excited to go find out what's happening. Also, Wednesday evening, I'm going to participate in the Empty Bowls fundraiser here. I'm excited to do that. Ultimately, the goal is to earn money for Saints Pantry, and I'm eager to determine if I have picked up any artistic skills since the last time I tried. Thursday briefing. Friday, I don't have any scheduled meetings, and then Saturday, I will be participating in Eating Locally. So that's it for this week.
Thank you very much, Commissioner McDowell.
Pretty quiet week. I'm trying to set up 1 day a month meetings with my constituents, and it's nice to go one-on-one because sometimes they're kind of afraid to come in and speak in public, so they can share things personally that's bothering them or get questions answered. So I try to do that. I had several of those this week. Wednesday, I'm going to be participating in the Empty Bowl program. Thursday, briefing with Ryan, and then Saturday, Eating Local.
All right, thank you very much. I have no scheduled meetings for this week other than my staff briefing and anything that may pop up. But I will take this opportunity to say that I think is, from my observations, a great idea to put the flashing red and yellow lights on 4th and Railroad, because I walk back and forth there 2 or 3 or 4 times a day, and it makes my walk a lot easier because many times I've come up and waited for the light to change when there's nobody in sight, and I think it's a good idea from my observations at the moment, and I see traffic moving probably slow or a little bit more of a better flow, so I think that is from my observation, a good idea. So that completes our weekly commission reports. Next is a general public comment period. If you would like to speak, this is an opportunity, and you just need to fill out a little card on the end of the table there and give it to our management assistant, Vicki Look. And do we have somebody signed in?
We do. We have Randy Lewis.
Oh, okay.
So who's Mike Situate?
Who's what?
Mike Situate, who's that?
My constituent.
Oh, okay.
Constituent.
Excuse me for not being clear.
No.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody, Randy Lewis. I'm a proud resident just inside the northwest corner of the Shelton urban growth area. I was also part of the citizens group that promoted the recent school bond. As you know, the school bond measure passed last week by roughly 0.5%. If only 25 yes votes had been no, the bond would not have passed. Poking around the county website, I found this. The precincts outside of Shelton made up 63% of the bond vote. Of those votes, 57% voted yes for the bond. That is nice support, but it's still less than the 60% supermajority required for pass. Shelton precincts made up 37% of the bond vote. 67% of these votes are yes, 2 to 1, amazing. So in my humble opinion, if these three commissioners do not publicly support the bond, it does not pass. So big kudos to you guys for your role in the success of the bond. And in a couple years when my taxes go up, I'm going to personally blame Gary Cross. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? Okay. All right, next is a reading of our consent agenda. Are we ready for that?
Yes.
Could we please have that?
Yes.
Consent agenda, vouchers numbered 13764 through 13781 in the amount of $22,302.90.
Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as read?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
I second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The agenda passes. On our agenda, we have something called the action agenda, and we are ready to start that. We have several items on it, and the first is going to be a report by Craig Gregory, our Public Works Director.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. Last week, we briefed on just a small change to the recently signed biosolids agreement with Mason County to include suspended solids less than 1.5%. So that cost slightly increased. So we are looking, in your packet, you should have a signed agreement back from Mason County that we would need the commission to sign to move forward with that change with the cost to that service.
Any questions or comments concerning this?
I have a question. I still don't know a lot about this stuff, but anyway, why did it go from per pound to per gallon?
It's the percent of suspended solids.
Okay, and what is?
So if it's greater than 1.5%, it runs through our plant much easier and into the dryer than the lesser amount. We need to do a few additional steps, add some more polymer to the less than 1.5% suspended solids. That's why there was a bump, a small bump in the increased cost.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
No.
No. You've been briefed on this for several months about this, and this is doing your due diligence to get the worth to the city, equitable there, and so we appreciate that. And so at this time, if there's anybody from the public that wants to speak about solids, they certainly can. So this is an opportunity. If not, we can move forward, and I think we need to have a motion. Would somebody give me a motion?
Yes. I move to accept the rate structure change to the interlocal agreement with Mason County to further treat digested sewer sludge by signing the updated interlocal agreement.
Okay. I second that motion. Any further discussion? In favor, all those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Number 2 is the Huff and Puff parking agreement that Mark Ziegler is going to come and talk to us about.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. Today I bring back to you the lease agreement with Shelton School District for the area known as the Huff and Puff parking area adjacent to the Huff and Puff Trail. This is a lease agreement that would formalize the maintenance and management of that parking area to the city of Shelton after a number of discussions with the district in trying to work out options to increase student safety, maintenance, and access for the public to the Huff and Puff Trail and the Shelton Springs Disc Golf Course. This lease agreement is presented to you to come to that conclusion. The lease would be through, December 31st, 2021, with your approval.
So I broke protocol on the last motion there. What we like to do is hear from the public first, because then that has the ability to enter into the dialogue, something we may not be aware of. So if anybody would have a concern or a question about this agreement or the Huff and Puff parking, now would be the opportunity for public comment. Seeing none, do you have any comments or questions
No.
for Mark?
No.
I think this is a good thing.
Yeah, we've been talking about it again. This
Yep.
isn't our first rodeo, or whatever they say, and that it is a wonderful asset to the community, and I think we concur with this. So we need a motion at this time.
I will make a motion that we enter a lease agreement for the Huff and Puff Trail parking area with the Shelton School District and authorize the city manager to sign.
I second that motion.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you.
Do you have more?
I'm next
Oh.
on the agenda, yeah.
Let me get to you on my page here.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mark Ziegler again coming forward to talk about something that I think we are all excited about, and that is the Eagle Point land annexation. So you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. At the time of the acquisition of the Eagle Point property in 2016, it was outside of the city limits. The city has requested that Mason County consider the annexation of Eagle Point with the annexation of some outer harbor areas that you may have been aware of with the Shelton Marina and some of the configuration there where the marina sat out, partially in the county and partially in the city. So city staff is currently managing and going through that request to annex the outer harbor area into the city limits, and we would like to add Eagle Point proper onto this annexation request as well. The city's attorney has drafted a additional signature for annexation petition, which is attached in your packet, that would be forwarded on to the county assessor's office. So Eagle Point property could be included in that entire annexation procedure. With your approval, we're asking for action on this today so we can move the entire annexation forward and get this wrapped up as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. If there's anybody from the public that wants to talk about Eagle Point, this would be the opportunity before we take action on this. And so, if I see nobody signing up, then we will continue forward with any questions or comments we may have about this.
I just will make a statement that I am thrilled about this. I'm very excited. This is a great opportunity for our city, a great opportunity for working together with our port and county, and it's awesome. I like it.
All right, so do I have a motion to approve?
I move to authorize the mayor to sign the additional signature for annexation petition.
I second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes.
Yay!
Thank you very much, Mark Ziegler.
He's on again.
All right, now we are moving to item F, which is the business agenda. And we have, again, our Public Works Director, Craig Gregory, that is going to come forward, and he's going to present something about an alley vacation.
Thank you again, Mayor, Commissioners. We have got an application currently by the property owner of 909 South 7th Street for a possible vacation of that alley between Harvard and Grant, running from 7th to 8th. And in your packet, you have a map that is showing that alley. It is a platted 10-foot wide alley with some difficult elevation changes within it. From 7th Street, it's got a fairly steep climb up to the center of the alley between 7th and 8th, and then a fairly large drop-off moving west. So we do not see at this point with city staff that we would be using that alley for any reason. for trash pickup or for utility extensions. And what we are looking for today is, because we need 2/3 of the abutting property owners to sign the petition to vacate the alley. At this point, there is only one abutting property owner, and that property owner has asked to have documentation or a letter stating that they will not incur any cost to move forward with the vacation. And at this point, what we are looking for is authorization to have our city manager draft a letter to send out if the commission decides to not need any compensation for the vacation of that alley other than the $600 application fee, that we would authorize the city manager to send that letter out to move forward with the vacation.
I could speak first to this issue, and that when it came to my attention, I remembered that I was a builder for the major portion of my life, and many times there's situations that kind of fall through the cracks. There's something that may not have been noticed here or may not have been noticed here, and my instructions to our city manager was that we need to address this situation like we address any situation, and that's fair and equitable. So, having said that there's no privileged treatment in any way on anything like that, that I think that I would okay our city manager from drafting language to make this go through smoothly.
My question, is that something that's typically done? We've only done one vacation since I've been on the commission, so forgive me, I'm not quite sure of what is typical. Is that something that is typically done?
We typically have not charged or had any compensation needed from the property owners in a vacation situation,
Okay.
typically in the past.
So typically, the applicant would pay the fees, and then the adjacent property owners, if they were in favor of the vacation, they just were a party to the vacation but not to the fees?
That's correct.
So why is this?
The applicant has a $600 application fee.
So that has been paid?
It has been.
So I guess I don't understand why we would need to draft a letter if we don't typically do that, and there is no compensation required from the adjacent property owner.
In the code, you as a commission could require compensation, and I think what that abutting property owner is looking for is just confirmation that moving through the process, that they will not incur any costs within this vacation if they agree to move forward with it. And again, with only one abutting property owner, without that signature, this vacation basically stalls.
I think if I could jump in here, the other property owner is just looking to see that he's not going to get a big bill in the future from us.
That's
And
correct.
he wants something in writing, which I think is probably a fair way to do things.
Yes.
So,
Aye.
Okay, I guess I am just hesitant to do something that is out of the realm of what our code requires for one specific case here. I don't. If this is what we're going to do, then I believe that we should make that a standard practice for any further vacations, or if we are going to start charging all property owners for part of the vacation, we need to decide to do that, but I think that it shouldn't be a question.
the chair will jump in at this point and remind everybody that a lot of these things are a case-by-case basis, and this particular situation follows what we have done in the past. There could be a change in the future, but the way we have done it in the past is kind of the way we're bringing this forward today.
With the addition of a letter, that's the different thing, right?
Right, well, yeah, people want to know in writing what their city would do. The other thing that I want to say is that this is nothing, nobody's to blame, no one individual is to blame for whatever happened on this alley. It's a 100-plus-year-old city that has things that go, and sometimes things aren't always obvious. And unfortunately, I always lean kind of in the side of helping people out, and it's what we've kind of done. Now, unless our city manager has something to add to this that would add on to what he's saying,
I would concur with what Craig has said. The difference here is that generally speaking, we're going to have a few property owners, and it could be that if you don't have one, you can still vacate the alley if staff recommend that. In this case, you have one person. They either agree or they don't agree, and that is what the deal hinges on.
Well, and I would like to finish my thought on that, is that this makes total sense to vacate the alley. It's one of those situations where and we have a number of them throughout the city. I'm looking at the map here, and I think that maybe, I'm surprised that alley hasn't been vacated already, and I understand that things like that get missed over time. I see there is a number of buildings built in the alley in this case, so I have no reservations about doing the alley vacation. I'm just, I guess I'm just questioning if in the future we need to send out letters to the adjacent property owners, if that's what we're going to do, to affirm that there is no cost to them, or I like to have a process, I guess, that is that people can depend on.
To continue my thought, I would like to agree with Commissioner Moore that if the city's going to change the way our wording is in our ordinance, that would be a good subject and something we might want to do. So I can easily see that we need something a little bit more definite on the way we're doing business in the future rather than the way we kind of do things in the past. So I would easily entertain a suggestion that we take a look at our ordinance, and because it says we can or can't, we might or might not charge somebody. Well, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
So I do not like the terminology maybe or maybe not. So I think it'd be good for us to discuss this, but following the protocol of what we've done in the past in a situation like this, I would recommend that we have our city manager write the letter, and that what we do is review the process and think about coming back and changing our policy so there is no, they may or may not come back and get the money. So that would be my thoughts. Do you have any thoughts on this?
No.
So I think where we are is, do we agree to follow staff's recommendation on this item, or do we want to have further discussions?
I am in favor of, do we need a motion on this? No, we just need to concur. I am in favor of moving forward on this and settling the language so that it's more predictable in the future, so there isn't a question. And I think that it seems that this project needs to move forward.
Does that satisfy what you need, city manager?
I concur.
Okay, so I concur with that also. Is that it? So your part is okay on this project?
To move to the action agenda, or are we
No,
authorizing?
No, we'll place it, well, yeah, we'll place it on the action agenda. We're approving that we want to do that. We're concurring that we
Yes.
want to follow your recommendation,
Have the administrator.
which, yeah, to have
Do
our
a
city
letter.
manager draft up a letter to the property owner saying that we are not going to come back at a future date and hit you with a bill.
Good, thank you.
That's Shelton terms, okay?
For the alley
Yeah.
vacation.
But
Yeah.
we will have, at staff briefings, we will have this conversation about clarifying the language, and there obviously could be other areas in our city policies that we run into that we might want to clarify the language a little bit more. I think we need to be probably a little more black and white on some of these. So, is that all you need?
That is it.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Next is, sorry for my frog in my throat here, but is department updates. Okay, and so the first department update is our Community Development and Parks Department's Director, Mark Ziegler.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I need to move this up a little bit. No offense. So in our planning department, March 6th, this week is the deadline for public comment for the comp plan DEIS. So we're looking forward to wrapping up that 30-day comment period and getting as many comments from the public as we can for the DEIS. Staff will put those together, package them up, and we'll have a presentation, a brief to the commission sometime probably in mid-March with further information on the comprehensive plan. We had a public meeting a couple weeks ago, and I don't know the exact amount. We had close to 10 people show up for that meeting and provide some comment there. FEMA has updated flood maps for Mason County. We have placed those on the city's website. In those flood maps, there's been a status change of 31 properties. They might not all have structures, but 31 properties are included in the flood zone. About 75 properties outside of the flood zone. So that map can be found on the city's website. There is a public meeting on March 21st from 6 to 8 p.m., but it will be in Belfair. It's a coordinated meeting between the city and the county, and the vast majority of the properties that fall within the flood zone in the county will be in the North County, so at Belfair at North Mason High School on March 21st from 6 to 8 p.m.
And that's, I'm sorry, where is that meeting?
North Mason High School.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Again, with the FEMA flood map and flood information on the city's website and community development page, we've also made a number of changes there and added some more maps, zoning maps, and the like that is available to the public. So we want to get that information out as much as we can. That all that information is now there on our newly well-functioning website. So it's nice to have those at staff's disposal as well as providing that information to the public. We've also re-engaged the Railroad Avenue Corridor project with some recent discussions with the consultant on that, so we should be seeing some progress and some presentations to the commission here in the near future. Within the building department, really general inquiries, just phone calls and things like that are increasing. We're seeing more and more of just people kind of kicking tires, calling about vacant properties or building properties in the community. We haven't seen a whole lot of tangible increase in permits, but we have seen 46 total permits in January and February. One single-family resident has been issued. 2 single-family residence permits have been applied for, and then 1 duplex has also been applied for so far this year. So we're processing those in a timely manner and getting those out, and hopefully helping those out that want to do business in the city of Shelton. In the Parks and Recreation field, we've done some reconfiguration with the Civic Center operations down here, and with the new role that I am in community development, we've had to move some things around to the facilities department, to our custodians and our customer service to help out with the functions and the rentals here in the Civic Center. I think those are working quite well. We still have some work to do to get people up to speed there, but I think it's working quite well right now. We're continuing taking registrations for spring recreation programs. Those are ongoing. As the commissioners mentioned, Wednesday is the Empty Bowls Project being presented by the Shelton Arts Commission. Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. here in the Civic Center will be the first date. It will meet again on March 8th and then again on March 15th. The first day is the build a bowl day, so you get a lump of clay and build a bowl out of it. The second day on March 8th is the glazing day, where you actually paint them or decorate them. And then the 15th is when the soup and bread is provided for a suggested $10 donation that all the proceeds would go to Saints Pantry Food Bank. Let's see, the Parks Department is working with the Mason County Master Gardeners to bring electricity to Catalyst Park. The idea is that they have a number of work parties up there throughout the year, obviously with the demonstration garden and the food bank garden, and be able to charge up some electric tools or plug in a crock pot or something like that is really beneficial to them in their long days and work parties up there. So they are flipping the bill for that and paying for that service, and Parks is just facilitating that improvement into the park. It's spring and baseball season and soccer season, so we're dealing with the youth leagues and the adult leagues requests for fields and field use this time of year. We're not able to accommodate them quite yet because of the weather. Things are still a bit soft and muddy, but as soon as we're able to get on our fields, get them into shape, and get them safe for the participants, we'll be accommodating those requests as well. And we have our park seasonal worker coming on March 6th. So this is kind of the kickoff to the season where we provide our weekend service. So March 6th, our seasonal worker will start, and then the park restrooms will be opened up again on the weekend starting March 11th. So those will be during daylight hours, 7 days a week, starting March 11th. So it's a great service to provide to the community, and that's when we start, seeing a little better weather and a little more daylight and a little more use in our park.
Let's hurry that one up a little bit, could you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we're ready
The nice
for
weather.
it.
Right, yeah, exactly, as are we. Let's see, in the facilities department, number of changes in staffing, and so we're moving furniture and configuring office space and phones and things like that. That's kind of an ongoing project. And then we've got some planning around some customer service reconfiguration. So we're looking at working with staff and some others, some consultants to provide better customer service to the residents and the people that visit the Civic Center. So you'll be seeing some different configurations as time goes by there. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I have a question, if I can remember. Oh, the empty bowls, is that $10 that pays for you to be able to make the bowl and the soup, or what is that?
Yeah,
What's the cost? I mean, is there a
the
cost to make the bowl? And
No,
then
the suggested donation is $10 on the final night on the 15th.
Okay.
So when you come in and get your bowl of soup,
Okay.
that way if you can't participate on the 1st or the 8th or either one, you can come in on the 15th still and grab a nice bowl of soup and some bread and still make a donation to the Saints Pantry.
Okay, and then I have a suggestion. I think one way we would have better weather in Mason County so we can play baseball is to turf the fields. And then it won't rain.
Did you have a budget? did you have a budget?
No, it's just logical.
Yeah,
You
just a
wash
nice
your
idea.
car, and it rains, so if we put turf fields down, then,
Mason County Recreation is taking care of that hopefully for us with 2 new turf fields out on field 6 and 7. So
Yay.
hopefully they're going to change the weather for us.
yeah, very good.
Any other questions for Mark? Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Next is Fire Chief Tim McKern.
Mr. Mayor, Commission, welcome here. I updated you so you have a new kind of, it's not in your binder. Yep, it's an updated, and I give you a fancy form that the mayor likes on the backside. So we're right at 16.1 responses a day. Keeping in mind last year we were averaging about 13 responses a day, so our numbers certainly are increasing. In our district as a whole, we're at about 901. And the city, as you see there, the city is right at 421. So that's kind of the responses where we're at. On the back side, that's kind of an interesting chart, if you will, and it basically shows the days and the hours of the calls and how they come across. So it's kind of interesting, a little reading for you to take with you, and you can kind of get an idea. Also helps us for staffing times, peak staffing times. We can kind of keep an eye on it and watch where everything goes with those as well. So that's kind of the chart and how those things go. Speaking of Eking Local, you've seen a number of events. A couple of our districts are doing what we call the SARE Climb. That's coming up on March 12th up in Seattle. Why some firemen will want to put all that heavy gear on and an SCBA mask and climb 69 floors, it's for the good cause, and it works really, really well. I will tell you that we've had a number of great events, everything from karaoke to chili feeds to barbecue events down at Smoke and Moe's, and I'll have more news when I finally get the numbers for how much they collected. Last year, it was in the sum neighborhood of around $20,000 for the society. So they did a really good job, and so I appreciate both Central Mason, District 6, and District 11. They've all worked really hard and worked to do that kind of stuff, so we're pretty excited about that. Other than that, our calls are going on. We did put a new engine in service for the city, so if you get a chance to come by and take a look, it's not a brand-new engine, but at least it's a little updated to what we had before, and we'll be surplusing the engine, the original engine that was here. A little long, 38 feet, in a city just doesn't work real well. This one's a little shorter. We were able to make a great deal with Paulsville Fire that we couldn't refuse, and so it's now in service, and the crews are thoroughly loving, and it's working well. So other than that, any questions?
I just want to know if you're going to go up them 69 floors.
I am not, but I will next year. But the chief from District 11 is actually going to do it this year, and I'll do it next year. So.
Boy,
Wow.
good for you. Thank you very much. Thank you
You
very
got
much.
a whole year to get ready.
All right, next is the police. Police Chief Darren Moody.
We have a lot of changes going on at the police department. Just give you some quick updates as to what's going on. I announced a couple of weeks ago, our detective Ses Mayava is retiring. His last day is tomorrow. If you get a chance tomorrow afternoon, you want to stop by and say hi to Ses or say goodbye to Ses and thank him for his service. They'll be here tomorrow. He leaves here by 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. With that, we hired a lateral police officer that started 2 weeks ago. Mr. Lawson was an officer at Squaxin Island Police Department and came over to the city of Shelton 2 weeks ago and has started with us, and he's in his field training program. We also have one officer in the academy due to graduate mid-April. We'll be following that up by sending another right behind that one. So come July, we're hoping that all the training is done and we have everybody on board. That being said, this month, we will have hired 4 new police officers for the city of Shelton to replace retirees and people who have left. That's quite a bit for an agency that has 17 police officers to hire 4 new ones in that short period of time. So we've done a good job getting the testing done and with HR cooperation and help up there. We also got a new front office staff today. So after the commission meeting, if you want to stop by and say hi to Sabina, she started today to replace Lynn, who retired back in November or December. So she's part of our front office. You'll see her in the front office of the police department. Diane Hupp will be retiring at the end of March. So Diane has been there for a long time and takes care of everybody at the police department. She's what I like to refer to as our mother and takes care of everyone around there. She'll be retiring at the end of March. With that, we'll be promoting a lieutenant into a position at the police department. We're not adding any staff. We're simply promoting a lieutenant, which we haven't had since the retirement of Les Watson almost 2 years ago. We also added an animal control officer. We have a temporary full-time employee. You'll see the truck driving around town for animal control now. Hopefully, we can make a dent in some of the stray dogs running around town. I encourage folks to call, corral the dog, whatever you can do, give us a call. He's generally working 8 to 5, but he's on call. We can use at any time. So if you see the truck around, that's what he's doing with animal control services. On the crime part of it, we did see a little bit of an increase in January over January of last year with some thefts around town this last month. We're looking at that to figure out exactly where that lands. But those are all the changes, new staffing and new adjustments going on at the police department right about now. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
So you're not hiring anybody in Diana Hupp's place?
At this time, correct.
Okay.
The lieutenant will take over most of the duties Diana had, and
Okay.
other ones will be distributed around. So again, we're end up with less staffing at the police department than we had in 2014 when I started.
For the animal control officer, which number do people call if there are stray dogs causing problems?
He's
or-
dispatched through MACECOM. So you can just call the dispatch center at MACECOM, and they'll be able to send them out for that. And like I said,
Not the 911 number you want to call.
not unless the
another
dogs are vicious. I wouldn't be
Right.
calling 911. If they're just stray running around, just call the non-emergency number through MACECOM. I would encourage people also, there's other options too. If you can corral a dog and get it in the yard, it's much easier to catch. As he's finding out this last week, seeing the dogs is not hard. Catching the dogs becomes a difficulty.
Yeah.
So if you get them corralled in a yard, it's even easier for us to get them down to the pound. If they jump in somebody else's car, we've had that where people show up at the pound with a stray dog in the back of their truck. So however we can get it to the pound, we'll take care of it.
Okay. And do we contract with Mason County for stray animals, or is this the city limits?
City limits. The interesting perspective for Mason County to Shelton is for the last 2 years, we haven't had an animal control officer per se. The city has licensing, shots, and leash law that all come into play in the municipal codes in the city of Shelton. The county, which has an animal control officer, has no leash laws or licensing throughout the county. So a whole different set of rules and regulations that go with the county, but in essence, your dogs don't have to be on a leash in the county. In the city, dogs running loose are a violation of the law.
Thank you.
You bet.
Before you leave, I just wanted to say that, just to thank you very much, for I know over the past couple of months there have been several issues that I've noticed different things, and you've always been very polite and responded to these situations that I think might be a concern to the citizens of Shelton. And I think you are very professional in what you do, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I won't bug you as much next month as I did last month.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. We are ready for our court administrator, Shelby Conklin.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm going to kind of give you a little update about what community service has been doing this past month. I'll just jump right into that. They've assisted Parks and Rec at the library during the landscaping project, stuffed a mailing for Parks and Rec for their flyer that went out. They're finishing up at the high school with a cleanup project behind the high school that included pulling out Scotch broom and also trees and all sorts of garbage and stuff that was back in there, just cleaning that area up. They shoveled snow in front of the fire station, the museum, the shelter, and Evergreen Plaza. They followed up with a request from community development with regards to a citizen complaint about a camp on Mill Street. So they've been back in there a second time. And camps behind Neelan Park. The ongoing projects they're involved in is pulling Scotch broom. This month they did it from K Street and 13th Street. They picked up litter in the city limits, including Rockdale Cutoff, Highway 101 from C Street to Wallace, Neelan Boulevard, the skate park, Wallace Neelan Boulevard, Franklin Street, Grove Street, Coda Street, Railroad, Cedar, Alder, Front, SR3 Park and Ride, Turner Hill Park, Harvard, Highway 3, the Saw Wheel Park, Ridge Street, Summit, Division, Union, Boundary, Arcadia, Jefferson, Washington, Laurel, K, 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th Streets, and throughout the historical district and around the bus stop at Shelton Outfitters. So they got about 3,400 pounds of litter doing that. So picked up 79 needles. They've had 7 people complete community service, and their caseload is 109 people. So that's what community service has been doing. We've been working, as you know, we have a new contract with the county jail. We're just working with the jail staff to get that implemented. It's a change in the way that we manage the billing, and there's a little learning curve, and we're working through it, and I'm hopeful that it's going to be substantially improve our billing process. So here's hoping. Any questions?
I'm just like, every time you give a report, what the community service people do is you see them around town all the time.
Yeah, they're out working, and this month there was a lot of snow, so they weren't out doing some of the, they probably would have had more litter picked up and stuff, but it was buried in snow and slush and cold, rainy weather, so.
Probably one of the best things we have going.
It's a good program.
It is very good.
It's a good program.
I know that we recently expanded the hours of the community service supervisor. Is that program adequately staffed?
Now, yes, it is at this point. Our van is slowly dying, and so we're on the lookout for a replacement van. We bought it new, I think, in 1992, if I remember right, and it's just done city miles, and it's rattling, and we're hoping to get it through until we can find a replacement van for it. But equipment, we could use more equipment. We could use like litter bags. It's amazing how expensive it is for the litter bags. And we used to have a grant with the DOE, I think it was the DOE, where they funded the litter bags for us, that you see alongside of the street and highways. That grant is now a grant that goes through the county, and we share in it a little bit. So, but not to the extent that we once had it.
Okay, good. She's amazing that
Yeah.
she can
Yeah, she
supervise
is.
all that. I was thinking
Yeah.
one person is doing this.
Yeah, she's very good at it.
Good.
Thank
Good.
you.
All right,
Thanks, Shelby.
thank you very
Thank you.
much. All right, next, is there any administration final touches?
Yeah, I have a list of them for you, Mayor and Commissioners. First thing is that we're going to bring forward briefing on Basin 3 contract with parametrics. We're also going to bring forward a contract for the water comp plan through Corollo. We also plan to bring forward city design and construction standard updates. And then finally, we are going to look at bringing forward a request that we add some additional language to the way things are written now. When you connect, or when you extend utilities, there is a waiver of protest that is required. We're going to bring forward language that deals with connections for utilities as well.
All right, thank you very much. Our next meeting will be Monday, March 6th at 6 p.m. in the evening. This meeting is adjourned.